and welcome back once again to AR-77 Airgun Replicas 77, and this video is all about revolvers. There are some of you, I'm sure, that don't even have a single revolver in your collection. Shame on you. There are some of you who probably only have revolvers in your collection, and I know for a fact that there are some of you who particularly favour revolvers over semi-automatic pistols. So let's look at revolvers from a replica airgun perspective and look at why it is so rewarding, I would say, to have a revolver as part of your collection, even if it's just the one. Also, if you're getting into replica air pistols, and I say getting into it, maybe you just want one. Let's look at why choosing a replica revolver isn't necessarily a bad shout. You know, in fact, actually, it's a very good shout. This all comes down to what sort of pistols you prefer and what you like. You know, do you like more modern pistols? Do you want something that looks like you've seen in a film? Do you want something like the Baba Yaga, you know, the Terran Tactical, the Combat Master that's in John Wick? Do you want a Beretta 92 FS, something that's in Die Hard or Lethal Weapon? Do you want that classic 1911 pistol? Or do you want something that is perhaps a little bit different and yet nevertheless just as iconic? You know, you've got the Smith and Wesson, I can't even say it, the Smith and Wesson M29, recently released, you know, made popular by the Dirty Harry films, made popular not just as a kind of a cultural icon, but made popular even as a gun by those films. Then you've got the Single Action Army, you know, countless cowboy films and so on and so forth feature that pistol. You've got the Colt Python, which is, you know, famous again through film and TV. Most recently, I would argue, through the Walking Dead series, the Colt Python is the Rick Grimes gun. So there's a number of reasons why you might want a revolver. I'm going to look at them in a bit more of a kind of a deep dive. I'm not going to go into a massive history about all sorts of different pistols because that's not my strong point with revolvers, really. I do like them, but I'm going to sort of look at them from a collector's point of view. In terms of what you can get, even if you knew nothing about pistols, what you get by owning a revolver. Well, for the first point that I would like to make, you know, similar to the real world of firearms, it's a good grounding in using a pistol. It's very clear to see how to use it. With a little bit of practice, you know what you're doing. And it's a good entry into the world of pistols if you've never fired anything in your life before other than perhaps a water pistol or something like that. So in front of us here, we've got what I would call a pretty standard fare in terms of replica air pistol revolvers. Let's talk about the functionality of it, and I'll explain why it's so straightforward to use a revolver if you just want to do a bit of plinking in your back garden or just want to have something that you like the look of. So for the most part, and I'll talk about this in greater depth as we move into the video, for the most part, all of your CO2 powered revolvers, they will hold the CO2 somewhere there in the pistol grip itself. That's true, I think, of all replica air pistols that are revolvers. They'll have the CO2 in the grip there. Obviously no need for a magazine or anything like that with the CO2 revolver, so just the CO2 in the grip. Then you come to where you keep your ammunition. Now there are some revolvers that when you push it open like that, I'm losing my grip there, when you push it open like that, you can put your pellets or your BBs straight into a small kind of cylinder, small kind of disc, or directly into the cylinder itself. But for the vast majority of replica air pistol revolvers, you are using shells, which look, there's a few different types, but they look kind of like that. And either your BB or your pellet goes in the front or in the rear of those. And they then go into the cylinder, which is one part of the enjoyment of it. Just like with a semi-automatic pistol, if you're a replica collector, you get the joy of kind of filling up that magazine and then slamming that magazine home into the the handle of your pistol and racking the slide, and it feels like something like ownership of the real steel. Similar to that is with the revolvers. You know, loading a shell into that revolving cylinder is very rewarding. It feels like you're doing something that you've seen done in countless movies and things, like I said before. So yeah, that's part of the joy for me of owning a replica revolver. So yeah, you've got your CO2 there. Easy to load your ammunition in there. You're only going to use 6 at a time. There are some that take 8. Is there one that takes 12? There might be 1 or 2 that takes 12. But for these shell loaders, I think they're all 6 shooters across the board. I think. Please answer in the comments. Please tell me if there's one that takes more or less than 6. Because obviously in the real world, the revolvers, some of them carry 5, the smaller ones. So, some of them carry 7, and it's different across the board. So you've got that. You've got nice, simple mechanism there. You put that back in place then. And then for the most part, really, you're ready to fire. I think it's good to get used to cocking that hammer and shooting. You can shoot them double action, and you can see that as you shoot, that cylinder will rotate, lining up the next shot for you, but likewise that cylinder will also rotate if you cock the hammer, and it will line up the next shot for you, ready to go. Now for me, there's something about the mechanical nature of that movement that I think is, again, quite rewarding. Just taking the time to load just those 6, you've only got 6 in there, then you've got to cock the hammer while you're getting ready to shoot. You're keeping your finger off there, you're looking down range, you're lining up your sights, making sure you've got a really nice sight picture there before that finger then moves down to the trigger and you shoot. That whole process is really quite, and you're going to make fun of me now for kind of getting carried away, but that can be quite zen. It can be quite relaxing. They're very tactile. These pistols are very tactile, these revolvers. You can see the engineering that's gone into them. They don't look like some sort of laser gun or something like that. It looks like a piece of engineering, a piece of machinery, something that was engineered, something that was put together. I know they're mass produced, but they're still lovely looking things, and it feels, like I said, it's the engineering, the tactile nature of that, and the mechanical nature of it. You can see what you're doing. You're cocking that hammer, it revolves, you take your shot. Following that, you've got the ease of just releasing that cylinder, pushing out, again, everything works, pushing out those shells, taking them to one side, and if you've got some more, sticking them in and going again. But I think it's it slows everything down, and I think in this day and age, this is going to make me sound really old, but sometimes it's nice to just slow it all down, go through the motions of it, load those shells back up with ammunition, then load those shells into the cylinder there, pop that bad boy back in place, and you're good to go. So there's something about that. Once you've got that, you kind of know the basics. You know what you're doing. You know that you're going to have to cock that hammer. There's single action, there's double action. Other pistols then that you come across when they talk about single and double action, you kind of have a better understanding of what that means. You know that actually in a double action, when I do one thing, it does 2 things on the pistol. It cocks it and fires it. Double action. Then you've learned also that you've got single action, which is that does one thing and that does one thing. Pulling the trigger carries out one single action of firing the gun. Pulling the trigger carries out one action. In double action, pulling the trigger carries out 2 actions. Yeah, so it makes sense. Anyway, I'm kind of in risk of condescending to people who already know. So let's look at this pistol specifically then. This is the Legends S40 by Umbrex. I'm not going to promise this is going to be a short video, I will just say that now. This is the S40 by Umarex. I've done a review of it before. You can have a look at the review on the channel. But I'll just go through it in terms of replica revolvers and the similarities between them all. This is perhaps not a replica of any particular gun. It is a revolver, you could say, of... I'm speaking too fast. It is a replica, you could say, of a generic revolver. In this case, I would say from here and back, you're looking at a Smith & Wesson Model 66. But yeah, in terms of operation, these grips, these will just slide back like that, revealing the sort of housing for the CO2 capsule. You can undo your little screw there, pop a CO2 in, close that back up. And most, if not all, replica air pistols operate in the same way. They have a different tightening function, but they all operate pretty much in the same way. I really like this one. It's a really good size, a really good weight. All metal, as are the majority of the replica revolvers. There's a couple of revolvers around and about that aren't full replicas and that are kind of a bit more plasticky. Still probably fun to shoot, I bet. But these really feel like you've got something. You know, if you only had one pistol in your collection, wouldn't it be nice if it looked like that? So there you go. This is a pellet shooting air pistol. And I will show you, while we've got him out, I'll show you a couple of different variations built on essentially the same kind of frame, if you will. Because this is the Umarex, this is a kind of a relaunch as the Umarex Legends series, and this is the S40, meaning it's got a 4-inch barrel. Also available is the S25, and that's a 2.5-inch barrel. Get that? 2.5, 25. And you can see that it is identical in every way other than the length of the barrel. So that's the one difference. I have to say I've got 6 revolvers in my collection. And in all honesty, this is one of the favourites to shoot. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's just the weight of it and the fact that it feels so chunky because it is a snub-nosed, a little snubby. But yeah, that is one of my favourites to shoot, I have to say. It's not the prettiest, although I do like the way it looks. Yeah, and the good thing about these ones is that they're not that expensive because they're bringing out the newer ones. You've got the Dan & Wesson, the 715, you've got the Smith & Wesson 629 and the M29 and the Webleys, and coming out in different calibers and stuff. These aren't that expensive, and both of these are pellet shooters, and with that, fairly accurate. Talking of accuracy, with a revolver, more so than I would say any other type of pistol, you're going to have an option of getting a longer barrel. And if you combine the length of that barrel with the fact that it's perhaps a pellet loading revolver, you can expect greater accuracy. So your shooting is going to be better, and you can really focus on, like I said, slowing that process down, picking your target, picking your shots, trying to get good groupings of 6 or less. You know, you're going to get those 6 shots off. Can you get those 6 in a tight grouping? And you can really focus on that, really practice with these pistols. It's a really good way to spend a couple of hours out in the back garden. What else? Okay, differences. This one has, as a lot of pistols do, a recessed barrel, so that is the end of the actual barrel. It's a bit mucky in there, doesn't it? That is the end of the actual barrel, just in there. But that is this kind of recessed barrel. It makes it look like it's got a bit of rifling going on there. These are rifled barrels on the pellet versions. Even in this little one, I think this one, is this rifled as well? Can we get to see that? I'm not sure. I think it might be. It's only a 2.5-inch barrel at the end of the day. But that's the only one. This is the only one that I've seen that has such a close barrel end to the end of the muzzle, if you will. So it's not recessed as much as the others, and that might put you off from a kind of aesthetics point of view. I don't tend to look at that end, funnily enough. It's really still good, accurate to shoot, and a really nice pistol. But I bring that out as a comparison really to the S40. They are essentially the same pistol. What else was I going to say when I was talking about that? I'm forgetting. But let me bring out another one. This is, again, if I bring it on this way, this is essentially the same pistol. Once again, exactly the same, apart from that little giveaway there. It says DW, because this is branded Dan Wesson, and this is the Dan Wesson 6-inch revolver. This is a BB shooter, but again, exactly the same from there back. It's going to have that longer barrel, again, recessed barrel. But yeah, what a lovely collection, those three together. Yeah, none of these pistols have got CO2 in, or BBs. None of them have got ammunition or pellets or anything like that, so we're perfectly safe here. Yeah, I really love the look of that. Looks kind of like a Raging Bull, I think, as I say on probably pretty much every video that this comes out in. It looks a bit like a Raging Bull with that kind of, that big, deep kind of underlug housing, or whatever you'd call it. Yeah, it's not really an underlug at all, is it? Just a whole closed-in barrel. Really nice pistols, all three of them. Again, fully functional with, some of the semi-autos, you can't do everything you want to do with them. You can't rack the slide. Some of them are fixed slide. Some of them, they do a partial blowback. Some of them do a non-blowback. You don't have to worry about blowback with a pistol, because you're not going to get blowback. And if it is accuracy you're looking for, you put some pellets in one of these, obviously not this one, but in a pellet version, put pellets in, you've got the lovely long barrel, and you don't have to worry about that blowback, because when you fire, there is no blowback with a CO2 powered air pistol revolver. There's no recoil, there's no gunpowder, there's nothing exploding here to propel the bullet. So actually, when that air pushes it down the barrel, you should be able to get some pretty tight groups. Just point out on this 6-inch, that really nice red dot right at the end of the barrel there just makes sight acquisition a lot easier, as you can tell. And it's obviously good because it goes along with the branding of the channel. Bit of red, black, bit of grey. Nice. So some really nice pistols there, and I've got those three out of the way early doors. I'm really pleased with these three. I know that they've been superseded in some ways. Downsides with these ones, well, you've got that bit wiggly on the hammer there until it's cocked, and then there's no wiggle whatsoever. For me, that's it. Everything looks the part, everything does what it should do. You've got a couple of bits of design that are unnecessary. I mean, you've got, I don't know what that is there, but you've got subtle branding again because of the silver and things. Most of these are available in black as well. You can get a black version of this. The Dan Wesson version of this is available in black and silver. I don't think the Legends version is. That's kind of a gloss black. That's really nice. I'm not sure. You can get a few different versions of this. You can get a Crossman version as well. You can get a black version of this. It's kind of like a dull black version. And I think with the 8-inch version, yeah, you heard me, you can get an 8-inch version. It gets kind of a wood effect grips, which can be bought separately. So for any of these pistols, you could buy separately the wood effect grips and just slip them on there really nice and easily. But three really nice revolvers there for you to look at, he says as he takes them away, like a big meanie. Okay, before we move on then, let's have a look at something else that you might want to be hearing about, I guess, you might be interested in. Brass. So, variety of different types of brass, he says, for these air pistols, but they're all, I would say, much of a muchness. There we go. So you've got, let's have a look here. That's a bit silvery, that one, isn't it? So these are from different air pistols. This is from a Umarex Legends series pellet shooting revolver. So this is from the ones you've just seen, the S25 and the S40. So this, you put the pellet in the back there and it shoots out that way. So you've got the whole length of that shell before you even get into the barrel of the pistol itself. which effectively increases the length of your barrel. But yeah, the pellet sits in the back of that and shoots out that way. You also have this one. This is from the Wesson 715, and this is identical in all but colour to this one. Pellet loading, pellet goes in the rear and comes out the front. So it's identical and interchangeable from that respect. This is for a BB. This shoots BBs out of it. This is for the Colt Single Action Army, and it looks very similar. The BBs go in the back there and come out of the front. And this one is for the Colt Python. This has a bit of kind of plastic at the front, or rubber at the front, and this is, you load it at the front. You stick your BB in there, so it's going to be a bit of a shorter travel, but your BB goes in the front and then comes out. The air comes in and through the shell and pushes it out that way. Similar to that one, I'll just leave that there for the time being. Similar to that is the shells for the Wesson 6-inch that I've just shown you. And I'll use this as an opportunity to show you these as well. When you buy an air pistol revolver, you inevitably get one of these, which is a speed loader. I think most of them come with these speed loaders, and they are quite handy. If you get yourself a second set of shells, you can have one set ready to go. The Wesson that I've just shown you and those Umarex Legends are notorious for these not quite fitting in. Let me just show you. Let's bring the snub nose back here. So when you've got the cylinder out there, what you should be able to do is get your speed loader, pop it in there, push the back of the speed loader, and it releases. These are sort of held in place by a kind of a sprung-loaded thing. You push the back of it, it releases them into there. But because of the way that this is shaped and everything, it kind of has to go in at a bit of an angle. It should really go in straight. It goes in at a bit of an angle, and it can be a bit fiddly. Nevertheless, I would say it's a nice to have. What's the problem about with revolvers? Things roll away. Yeah, so speed loaders inevitably come with a revolver, so it's an extra bit of kit. These are the Wesson shells, and as you can see, similar to the Colt Python ones, they load at the front also. They are the only loaded shells I have, the ones in the speed loader. Just so that you're aware, I am acting safely. We do have shells in the Wesson, but as you can see, there's nothing in there. Okay, happy, joy. So we've talked about and met Wessons, and we've seen the Umarex S25, the S40. We saw the Wesson 6-inch. Let's have a look at another pistol, shall we? Let's have a look at the Colt Python 357. This is, was it the first revolver I got? I'm not sure. I know for a fact that I wanted the gun that Rick Grimes had in The Walking Dead, and that probably swayed me to get this, despite the fact that I'm not 100% happy with those grips. I'm not going to keep banging on about that. Every time I bring this pistol out, I moan about the grips. And the fact of the matter is, I really love this pistol. It is blingy. Again, it has got that kind of recessed barrel, like I say. And this underlug here, all the styling that goes with the Colt Python. That's a beautiful pistol. I like this. I think it's got a more realistic size of cylinder there. I think with the cylinders, with the Wessons and with the Umarex Legends, I feel like that cylinder's a little too small for the frame. And really, there's a lot of valve stuff going on in here that takes up a lot of room. You wouldn't need that. On the more modern Smith & Wessons, you can see that they've addressed that, and things are squeezed back a bit more realistically. There's a bit less kind of real estate there. But the Colt Python operates just like the others. It looks really nice. You can get these in black. It's a really nice showpiece. It's nice to have that kind of the Colt, the horse on there. Nice to have that branding, 357 Magnum. It's nice to see that on there. Yeah, it's a really nice pistol. That I like the gold horses in the grips there. With the Colt, slightly different in that you pull this back, to release the cylinder, and the cylinder pushes out still to the left hand side. That's a bit nicer again. It's the kind of ejection rod there that pushes the shells out. Let me try and get a decent angle. So you push that from there and it'll push your spent shells out, just like in the other ones. But that's kind of sunk a little bit, which is quite nice. It looks a little bit cooler than the other ones. I love doing that. So yeah, that's a kind of I think that's a Colt thing rather than a Smith & Wesson. While we're on details like that, I should point out that if you can see these almost arrows, I guess they're part of the engineering, but I don't know what they're called. Somebody will tell me. With Colt, when we pull the hammer back, it rotates clockwise. Okay, so you pull the hammer back, you can see the cylinder rotate clockwise. Likewise, if you shoot this in double action, it rotates clockwise. Yeah. As opposed to the Dan Wessons and Smith & Wessons generally. Let me have a look. Where's my Dan Wesson gone? Ah, here it is. I'll bring out the 6-inch so that nobody gets upset, starts to feel inadequate. This, as you can see, the kind of on the cylinder, these aspects kind of point in opposite directions, which is a good reminder because these revolve in the opposite way. So that goes round anti-clockwise. Yeah, single or double action, it goes round in the opposite direction, anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise in the UK, counterclockwise if you're in the US. Really like the Colt Python. It's a really nice pistol, as I've said a million times. Really nice detail there on that nice thick hammer. Again, adjustable sights. No red dot at the front, but because of the reflective nature of this one, you still get a really good sight picture there, especially in a well-lit room like the one I'm in. Some nice grooves there on the trigger as well, in case you are air gunning on a rainy day in the north of England, which I often am. Yeah, so interestingly, I talked about the cylinders going that way and this, kind of anti-clockwise for the Smith & Wesson, or for the Dan Wesson rather, and clockwise on the Colt. But when I bring out another Dan Wesson pistol, the 715, this is in 4-inch, this is the kind of the exception to the rule. I pull this back and it does rotate clockwise on the 715. Somebody might be able to tell me why they changed the design on this Dan Wesson so that it rotates that way. That one goes round to the right. So while we're here, let's get rid of Rick and let's get rid of Dan and bring in Tom. And why are we calling in Tom? Well, Magnum. So, this is the Dan Wesson 715. This supersedes the Dan Wesson series that I just showed you the 6-inch version of. This is a really nice pistol. Hogue kind of grips, similar in style to those sort of combat grips on the other Dan Wesson and the Umrex Legends series. Just built better, I feel, with the 715. I will be getting the 6-inch version of this, which comes in a lovely kind of grade finish. This is controversial. I mentioned this on another video. It kind of makes people love it or hate it. I really like it. I like that aggressive look at the front end of the pistol. Again, a really nice recessed barrel there and quite an aggressive looking barrel with that squared off kind of right angled underlug there. Really, really nice pistol. Some nice updates because this is based on the real 715, and the real 715 operates slightly differently to the earlier Dan Wesson pistols. This has the cylinder release catch there, which I think is really good. Push that out, and you've got your, like I said before, push out your shells there. Again, single, double action. Really nice sight picture on that one. Nice hammer there. I think most of these, if probably all of these revolvers actually, have this function where, you see, if I cock it like that and then I pull the trigger, it doesn't sit flush there. Like if the trigger is, if I pull the trigger and keep the trigger down, oh no, it's not on this one, it's perhaps on another one that I can show you. But I think what happens is when the hammer comes down, and somebody again will be able to tell me this, I think when the hammer comes down, it hits and then springs back a little bit and stays back, just so that it's not against the kind of release valve for the CO2. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Please do, you know, jot in the comments if I'm wrong there, or explain why it is that happens. But yeah, the 715, again, some really nice details there. 357 Magnum. I love this pistol. I love the balancing of it, and the grips are phenomenal. If I'm honest, they're phenomenal pistol grips. And yeah, I could happily have all versions of this. I don't know if I'm too bothered about the 2.5 inch with the 715. The snub nosed. I quite like the looks of the other one that I have, the Umrex Legends snubby, and I don't know if I'll need another snubby, other than perhaps the M29 3 inch with the 3 inch barrel. That looks really tasty as well. Okay, let's get rid of him. Right, let me just have a little look at my notes. What was I going to say? Oh, something I forgot to mention about the Colt. When we are loading the CO2 into this one, the grip doesn't come off like it does with the Dan Wesson and the Umrex. Those grips came back. This one, the grip stays where it is, and you just unscrew the sort of hex key there, the Allen key bolt at the bottom. You undo that, throw in your CO2 in there, and then tighten that back up, and it pierces it that way. Different also to the first ones that I showed you is with the Dan Wesson here, the 715, you've got a bit of a thumb hole there, and you just pop that off, and it releases this side of the grip. You put your CO2 in, pop that back on, and you can tighten it with the attached Allen key. Actually, let me see if I can just get this off for you. If I just take that off, you can see in there all that luscious metal, which is really nice to see. And yeah, with the 715, you get this, the grip comes off, and then you have this Allen key that's there, so you've got everything you need there. You're not going to lose your Allen key or your hex key, whatever you want to call it. You know, like again with these pistols, you've got everything there. Everything for the most part is done for you, and it's in a really nice, well engineered, full metal package. So what's not to like? Again, if you haven't got a revolver in your collection, you do well to get hold of one, especially a Dan Wesson 715, in my opinion. Stay with me, people, stay with me. We have one more pistol to look at. It wouldn't be fair to talk about revolvers without featuring my final pistol today, and that is the Colt Single Action Army. This is what you'd call a cattleman sized revolver. In Red Dead Redemption, the computer game, I think they actually call this the Cattleman. Also affectionately known as the Peacemaker. Really nice pistol to have. Again, for you replica collectors, I've gone for the nickel, as you can tell. I like a bit of silver. I've gone for the kind of the nickel finish here with the faux ivory grips. You can get an antique version with kind of faux wood grips. I think that's the way I'd go if I got another one. You can get blued ones, but some of them, I don't know, some of them look really nice. Some of them look a little bit too rainbow trout for my liking. But this is where it's at for me. Similar again to the Dan Wesson. You can just pop off the bottom, the grip there, and you've got your Allen key, your hex key inside the grip, and you just tighten your CO2 with that, and you're good to go. Obviously, this is based on a replica of a revolver from a different era to those. This is a single action only pistol in real life, and therefore Umrex have done a great job of making this a single action only revolver replica. So with this one, if you are loading it, what you need to do is you've got your kind of I think I call that a loading gate or a cylinder gate or something. You would open that and then you move this to that first position, allowing you to be able to, I'll get a bit closer, kind of rotate your cylinder like that. Yeah, so you get it lined up. Let me find some rounds. I have to find the right ones now, aren't I? Yes, I can tell these because they just look like all one piece. You get your round and you get your revolver and you pop it in there, and then you go around again. Ready for the next one? Let's load the whole thing up, shall we? Pop him in there. Yeah, round to the next one. Pop him in there. I could speed this bit up, you know, but I'm not going to. Round to the next one. In goes another round. Round to the next one. And the good thing about this is, again, you get an idea of what it was like to carry one of these pistols back in the day. You know, some people still do, but you get an idea of, blimey, you know, I've got 6 shots here. They've got to do some, you know, they've got to make a difference, because it's going to take me an age to get another 6 in there. Obviously, people get better practiced. Then you close your gate and you are ready to go. Obviously, there's no double action here, so you are reliant on cocking the pistol. You see the cylinder, there's a Colt cylinder, so it rotates clockwise, and then you are ready to fire. No such luck with the sights on this one. You've got this groove here, and then that goes down to that blade at the front. Again, that sound. Such a rewarding pistol to fire, in my opinion, is the Single Action Army by Colt. Really nice. I don't shoot this often enough, if I'm honest with you. I mean, look at that. Look at that lovely kind of spur there on the hammer. Lovely. And really simplistic, you know, trigger. Just part of the mechanism. Nothing showy. All you need is a little bit of metal here to shoot your pistol. That's all you need. That was the design thought, you know. Well, you know, everything goes on here. Just need a little bit of metal here to shoot that pistol. Compare that to something like the later Colts and the big significant trigger there. Yeah, really nice pistol. So what else can I talk to you about revolvers? I think that's pretty much it. I recommend you get one. Again, you can see that the hammer sits back there. I wonder if this is the pistol. If I push that, yeah, if I push that trigger, that hammer does go down that far, I think, when you fire the pistol, but it springs back so as not to release all of your CO2 all in one go. Obviously, with this one, I haven't finished. With this one, once you've used all your shots, all your 6 shots, you then back to this position where you just pop it to that first position there, and then you have this ejector rod here, and true to the original, this is where shells go flying everywhere. Pop that up and a shell will drop out. Ready for reloading and using next time. I'll pop that back in there with his buddies, and he doesn't get too lonely. Look at that, Colt Single Action Army. Apart from, you know, I mean, you think about the Python is a iconic pistol, and you know, I love 1911s, and that is in its own right is iconic. More so, I would say, than the Python, actually. But is there a more iconic pistol than that? I mean, you got your HK USPs, beautiful. Beretta 92, beautiful. You know, Walther PPK, fantastic. But is there something more iconic than that? Don't you want something like that in your collection? Even if you're into your more modern pistols, don't you want something that just looks like, you know, a really well-engineered, really tactile, really usable and holdable and shootable piece of engineering? Yeah. So, that is my video on revolvers. Sorry, apologies now if you feel like I've gone on too long. Congratulations to anybody who made it all the way through the video to the end. I know it was a bit of a marathon. I do like these pistols, and a video on them is well overdue, if I'm honest. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look once again through my collection with me. I do aim to get myself one of the Smith & Wessons, the more recent releases. Hard to decide which one, and they are quite pricey as well. I'm sure they're worth it, but they are quite pricey. Also, I feel like as an Englishman, I should probably get one of the Webleys as well. I like the look of the 2.2 versions, possibly the what they're calling the police version. I think the 4-inch. Not as keen on the shaping of the 2-inch or 2.5-inch. Not sure what size that barrel is. Anyway, I'm not going to talk to you about what the future might hold for me. Thanks for joining me once again. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you don't have a revolver in your collection, grab yourself one. They're great fun. They're really good to have. Really good exhibition pieces, actually. I might as well add that as well. You won't go far wrong with a revolver. There isn't even room now for them all. Take care. All the best. Stay safe. Bye.